we move on into this coronavirus, there has been a lot of I would say conspiracy theories as it relates to what is spreading the virus and the actual reason for the widespread in relation to you get all these messaging as it relates to 4G and 5G. As an IT specialist, just explain to the persons who are watching this know what exactly is 5G and how does it work exactly.
Okay, so going very layman, so therefore, when you go so layman, sometimes you could miss the technical stuff, don't be exactly accurate. So I'm going to stick to trying to thread that needle.
Okay.
So the G in 5G doesn't have to do with gigahertz. So when you hear about what people think is 5G in Barbados is the 2.4 gigahertz band and the 5 gigahertz band in terms of like routers. So you go to the, I guess, a computer store and you ask for a router, or you get a router from the service provider. It might say sometimes 2.4 gigahertz, right? And place emphasis on the G, and you think the G has to do with, I guess, the wavelength and how the signal travels from device to device, the type of technology, wave technology that travels through the devices. That's not what 5G means. All 5G means is 5th generation. So here's the thing. I understand how conspiracy theorists are getting to this because there's a little bit of radiation off of any cell tower. Hell, if you have a microwave in your house, you have radiation in your home. You're generating radiation in your home. But what they're arguing is these cell towers at the 5G level are so strong that they're emitting enough radiation to kill the, I guess, small animals like birds and other animals like that. Now, here's the thing. And I understand where they're coming from, and I know how we can feed into that conspiracy. But my position would be, think logically. We went from 3G to 4G, now we're at 5G. And all of a sudden, we know how to make a 2G network without killing animals. We know how to make a 3G network without killing animals. We know how to make a 4G network without killing animals. And then between 3G and 4G is the LTE, which is just like a mid-gap between going 5 and just what 4 stands for. So the LTE network, right, which is equally as powerful, we've come from 2G with little flip phones and the little Nokias that would never break, all the way up. When we understand technology even more, we're not understanding technology less and less. We understand technology more and more. We understand this thing more and more. When the first toaster or the first microwave, you would expect that we didn't get all of the technology right concerning radiation. But as we got better, we understood it, we knew how to actually improve iteration down the road. I would expect less and less radiation. I would expect more and more and more. Now, concerning the situation that we're seeing right now, let me say there are no 5G towers in Barbados. I personally believe we don't need 5G in Barbados. It's not a need. It will be a want, and it will be a useless want. Why? Because you cannot point to me, the media, nor any single individual in Barbados can point to me to one local app that is a necessity on everyone's phone. What do we all have? Well, of today, we probably have Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and then Google, Gmail, any other dog can play. But what's the commonality with all those applications? They're North American. And right now, they don't need 5G to work. What is 5G for? And that's the question that people should be asking. What is the real use of 5G? What's the real visionary use of 5G? And why is it being put down now? Because of something called the Internet of Things.
So do you think that a lot of people mistake 5G for internet speed? Because I think a lot of people are thinking that as well too, are banned.
Yeah, it will give you, for those countries that are fortunate to get it, it will give you, from anywhere from 600 megs up to a gig in terms of performance, all right, just after about 1,000 megs, right? But at the end of the day, there's nothing that demands that type of performance as yet. Because people go, oh, Stephen, but they're autonomous cars, cars that can drive on their own that would need that performance. I also saw a Tesla vehicle drive on its own. It was doing it on 4G. right? We don't need it yet, but it is the foundation for smart city development though. Because if you think about it, what we would ideally want is that if there's a pipe break, right? If we ever get to that part of Barbados, where a pipe lay on the ground breaks, you want the technology to actually relay back instantaneously to shut off certain parts and redirect water flow immediately, because that now is leaking gallons and gallons of water, and you want to be able to actually manage that. But here's what, that could be done now with 4G and SCADA, system called SCADA, right, which is a type of Internet of Things for utility companies, so they can monitor different stations and respond. So you can do with 4G what 5G would allow, but it's more for almost remote control, total automation, such as basically when I was in China in October, coming out of a train station, they did immediately facial recognition. And they have a system in place in China where within 15 minutes, the system basically can tell you if a mini mart was robbed, the police would pick up that person in 15 minutes, because cameras all around. So every camera would be connected via like a 5G network that would send so much data back that could do facial recognition. And you're sending gigabits of data in real time across the network that you can pick me up running down the street and the police is there waiting for me. The technology is that aggressive in China.
I'll say what you see on the CSA and those kind of movie TV shows.
Yeah, it is very, very aggressive, but we do not have that investment right now. And that's what I mean. You cannot expect a telecommunications company to keep investing in high-end infrastructure and then there's no uptake. And all we can do is go on Facebook and WhatsApp. I mean, it's not fair to them, because nobody would complain right now that they can't do an IG post or they can't do a Facebook post. And to think that I would take up what has to be at least a 20 to 30 million US dollar investment per country to do it properly. Because that's the other thing with 5G towers as well. 5G towers require more towers than 4G, meaning that for every mile for every cell phone tower that's a 4G tower, you probably have to put up 10 times as many towers for 5G. Because as soon as you move away from a 5G tower, all your speed gets cut. You will find that you can sustain high-speed connection on a 4G tower for a longer distance than 5G. So 4G, you can go further with it and get decent performance, but as soon as you move away, start moving like feet away, 100 feet away, it drops down almost to 4G speed. So if you want to talk about 5G and having that level of speed, we're going to need to put a lot more repeaters, a lot more towers around Barbados, and that does what? It digs into the tourism sector. Because no tourist wants to come here and see a place flooded with antennas so people can surf Facebook, surf, post to IG. We have to do this thing sustainably and in a smart way. So we don't need smart city development. We need smart people development right now. We need to build this thing in a smart way that is eco-tourism friendly and also sustainable in terms of what our needs are at this point in time.
Well, thank you, Stephen, for clearing that up in relation to what some people are thinking with 5G and COVID. And just bringing the conversation back just a little, in relation to, we would have seen, we're now on curfew, national shutdown, and we would have seen some Barbadians are not taking it still at this point, not seriously or whatsoever. As we wrap up, what advice would you give to them at this point for those persons who are still not taking the COVID-19 seriously?
I would ask them, are they watching any TV at all, international TV at all? The whole world is shut down. And the one thing that we have, Barbados, is us. We are not oil rich. We are not mineral rich. We don't have a lot of resources that the world have in abundance. All we have is each other. So I would say, protect each other. Take this thing serious, because when one of us dies, we are the poor for it. It doesn't take much for this country that has so little at this point in time to become even poorer, This situation is going to drain every ounce of finance out of every business, every person's pocket. But the one thing that we should want to count on is the fact that we all live through this. And one death is too many. However, putting yourself at risk for just a couple of weeks does not make sense. It's not logical. 2 weeks out of your whole life, doing the right thing for 2 weeks, or however long the government prescribes, is minuscule to the risk. Minuscule to the risk. Staying home for 2 weeks takes nothing. I understand going out for food. I understand what happened last week. It makes sense if people are in fear of it. And that was unfortunate. But risking your life to go to a birthday party or to spread it more, the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Thank you so much, Stephen Williams, for telling us about your product that you're building out, as well as to clarify some things that we are getting in relation to the link between COVID-19 and 5G, and also giving us that information as it relates to how we can better utilize the 4G existing network, and sharing your thoughts on the coronavirus. So I just want to thank you again for agreeing to this interview, and for the work that you're doing to ensure that we stay connected here locally.
Thank you, Kobie. Thank you to the nation as well for the opportunity to have this discussion.